What's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again from metaltrenches.com. As always, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, share it with others. But it's time for me to just recommend you 3 more albums that you do not want to miss right now. And let's just get right into it. First up, we've got California deathcore death metal band Carnifex with their new album World War X via Nuclear Blast Records. I'd recommend Carnifex to fans of Aborted, Benighted, and the Black Dahlia Murder. And while the album is very much kind of what you'd expect, it's very consistent. There is not a dud among these 9 tracks. I had an absolute blast listening to this thing start to finish, and every time it's over, I'm ready to just flip it over again and start from the top. At just over 35 minutes, too, it's the perfect length. It's really about as concise as a fist to the solar plexus. Great riffs and grooves that are as catchy as they are heavy, with a guest spot from Angel Vivaldi on All Roads Lead to Hell. Great track there. Also excellent bass and drums, and all of it captured with excellent production. I also love the vocals. Scott Ian Lewis has a nicely varied approach with both highs and lows, kind of reminiscent to Trevor's approach, again, with the Black Dahlia Murder. And we also get a very nice appearance from Alyssa White-Glues of Arch Enemy on the song No Light Shall Save Us, which is one of my favorites, and you heard that right at the top there. You should definitely check out the music video for that one as well. Great time, not a moment wasted, don't miss it. Alright, next up we've got Calgary math grind grindcore project Spurn with their excellent follow-up to 2016's excellent Comfort in Nothing, which was another noteworthy album I reviewed. But now we've got At the Precipice of Excitation. I'd recommend Spurn for fans of Frontierer, The Sound That Ends Creation, and Elder Devil. I had previously, in my other review, described Spurn as the perfect love child of Converge and Ulcerate, and I think some of that still stands. I definitely, even though this is much more of a grindcore band and not a death metal band, I still get that kind of bleak and also very technical Ulcerate vibe and atmosphere from this album. Very much continuing on with its absolutely destructive momentum. What we get again is a very adrenaline-inducing album that kind of mixes what we get with Frontierer's Unloved, but ramps up the noisy and chaotic elements several more notches. Whereas Frontierer feels a lot more kind of calculated and sort of electronic, Spurn is much more raw and ugly and just, like, you'll know it when you hear it. And he keeps the pacing pretty interesting over the course of this album as well, because you've got your faster, more straightforward kind of grindy tracks, but then you've also got slower, sludgier ones like Confusing Ignorance for Innocence. That one even has kind of like almost an industrial, kind of godfleshy vibe at times. And then they even close the album out with a cover of Mr. Misery himself, Tom Waits, of all things. Again, very technical drumming, angular riffs, but then also very balls to the wall, simple kind of crusty bouts with tracks like The 11th Hour. By the time you get to Looking Past Your Own Nose, it sounds, that album has this riff that sounds like the album is just like this breaking down rusty old piece of machinery. Like they've literally worn out the music by playing it so intensely. But yeah, this album is out right now. It's on Bandcamp. It's name your own price too, so you've got nothing to lose. I definitely threw some cash at it, so don't be a cheapskate. Go get it right now. And then last but not least, we've got a really interesting one here with the youthful spirit of metalcore channeled through Norwegian metalcore band Iskra, if I'm pronouncing that right. This has members of Halcyon Days and Vargfrid. The album is called Kaleidoscope. I'd recommend Iskra to fans of early Killswitch Engage, As I Lay Dying, and August Burns Red. And they just remind me of like the core kids I hung out with in high school. But what makes it even more intriguing and what caught my attention was it's like these guys got caught in a time capsule because they're playing also the music that was popular around that time for me, which has largely really gone out of vogue because they're playing that like classic early 2000s style of metalcore that fit in with the likes of albums like Thrill Seeker or Alive or Just Breathing. A lot of that got supplanted by gent and bands with big haircuts and eyeliner. But we've reached that point that always happens where things cycle back around and what was not cool anymore is now cool again. Just like fashion trends and old sitcoms, everything eventually comes back around. But regardless, I'm really happy that it's happening. These guys, again, throw in kind of those Killswitch riffs, a lot of August Burns Red sounding riffs. I hear August Burns Red kind of in the vocals, but they also have some very kind of under-oathy clean singing as well. I get a very Christian vibe too, if y'all remember like the Christian metalcore scene. That's coming through, especially in the vocals and the song titles as well. There's a lot of kind of religious references there. And hopefully that doesn't turn you off if you're not really into that. But I knew a lot of people growing up who were not Christian at all, but still loved that music. So maybe that's the case here. But regardless, it's a really great album. It has this just awesome imperfection to it too, which I absolutely love because modern production is just so glossy and pristine now, and it kind of loses a sense of character to it. So because they're not going with that, because it has more of a DIY ethic that I think of when I think of like really early metalcore albums, it adds this charm to it that helps me connect. And so, yeah, it's not perfect. There's things they can improve on, but I kind of want them to just leave that stuff in because it just gives it this genuine sense of passion. But yeah, definitely check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you're an old-timer metalcore fan like myself. Again, links down in the description. And that'll do it for this roundup of recommendations. Thank you as always for listening. And just a side note, as long as, a bonus shout out, if you will, because I mentioned Carnifex, my boy Dustin over at Heavy Metal History, who some of you may have heard on our own Trench Talk podcast when we were talking metal controversy. I really enjoyed doing that episode. It was nice to kind of have just like a chill, down to earth, no judgment conversation about that stuff without getting all outraged and angry. Trying to stay level-headed, so if you haven't heard that, check it out. But in any case, Dustin has his own series of podcasts at Heavy Metal History going on right now with each member of Carnifex, and they're really great episodes that I can't recommend enough because Dustin actually knows these guys personally. He's toured with them in the past, like going way back. And so they've got a lot of like fun little stories that they throw in and kind of like, oh, you remember when we played that crazy, like a barbecue pit they like played at or something. And I guess it was a horrible experience. So lots of moments like that. I really love that. And so a lot of just very engaging stories. So hop over to Heavy Metal History and subscribe there if you haven't as well. But I'm starting to go on a little bit too long here. Gonna end it there. Once more, please do like, subscribe, comment. Go over to our Patreon if you are a regular listener. You, the person listening right now, not the royal you, like everyone out there. You specifically, you the person hearing these words right now. Consider going over to Patreon and giving us just $1 a month. It really helps out. You pay for your Netflix, you pay for your Hulu, you pay for the things that you think are of value. And so if you feel like you're getting value from this and keep coming back, then again, I'm talking couch change once a month, every month. It makes a huge difference to help cover the overhead. But that said, Flight of Icarus, signing off. I will see you in the trenches.